Astrotheology course. Our textbook is The Devil's Pulpit. The author is Robert Taylor. Our supplementary books are The Diegesis by Robert Taylor, and then, of course, Ptolemy's Tetrabiblios. Okay, so we're on part 2 of The Devil's Pulpit 2, which is the Star of Bethlehem, part 2. Okay, so let's pick up where we left off. We were talking about that key, or a master key. That if you have this master key, it opens up the door of religion, Christianity and Judaism, and it enables you, allows you to see it for what it is. All right, so if you want to know what that key is, you have to watch a video just before this one, which I think is number 11. I think this is video number 12. I gotta check it. But anyway, the video right before this one. So let's get started, okay? So we're gonna begin with the quote from Matthew chapter 2, verse 2. Matthew chapter 2, verse 2. Now when JC was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, quote unquote, where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. So already before JC, at the beginning of the gospel stories, we're introduced to astrology, right? They saw his star in the east. That's astrology. Regardless of what you think about it, it is astrology. Okay, so these wise men were led by astrology, right? So the stars are signs and seasons, which is what astrology is, okay? So let's continue. I return to this most important subject in which man is interested, to this most delightful science in which man can be instructed. I return to the positions of this great science, to which on Sunday evening last I brought up the convictions of the large audience which honored me and themselves with the most grateful attention. Okay, so if you applied this or you think about this in terms of law, attention, that would be what? Public. Okay? Public. All right? So the public gave him their attention. Attention is a key concept and a key word that everybody should focus on learning more about, especially as it has to do with the Hermetic laws. Specifically, mental gender, okay? Attention, all right? Also what? The public record, all right? The public record. All right, so let's get into the second paragraph, right? So credibility and reliance is what I'm referring to, okay? So full faith and credit, to be specifically. All right? The Star of Bethlehem has brought us up to the stable door. What stable door? The stable where the manger, where JC, the Christ figure, was born. And the manger is filthy. Animal saliva, not just one, but many of their saliva. You have decaying grains. It's just filthy. Right? It's filthy. But the stable has reference to the Augean stable, the mythological Augean stable. All right? In the story of Hercules. Okay? So the Star of Bethlehem has brought us up to the stable door. And no person of rational understanding who has traveled with us thus far, in other words, if you started from the beginning of this book, from the beginning of my presentations of the Devil's Pulpit with Ptolemy's Tetrabiblios, if you started from the beginning and you have normal intelligence, okay, this is what he means by who has traveled with us thus far, can any longer doubt that we are in possession of what you shall seek for in vain in any church or gospel. In other words, we have the key. And you've seen the evidence to this far. It's undeniable. Right? The churches and their religious doctrines don't explain the gospel stories fully. So this is what the author is talking about. What you shall seek in vain in any church or gospel. They don't give you the answers. They don't tell you what the mysteries of the kingdom of God are. That's what he's saying. Your doctrines do not do that. Or from any other minister of the gospel in this metropolis, or any other minister, Hebrew, Israelite, Christian, Muslim, whatever religion in your city, they don't have the answers in their doctrine to the mysteries of the kingdom of God. They're not telling you that. But astrology is. All right, so let's continue. We are in possession of the key of the stable door. Now, what's the key in review? The key is understanding that these stories are fables. They're fables. They never happened in real life. And that they are astronomical in character, meaning that they are a remix of the motions and energies of the celestial bodies. That's it. So what natural law is this following? As above, so below. See, they are our oppressors, are ruling us through nature. The law of correspondence, as above, so below. So what did they do? They remixed the laws, or what's happening above, they remixed it into a biographical story below on the earth plane. Y'all see it? Ye have seen it pass into the lock. In other words, he showed you the evidence. Okay? He showed you the meaning of the mysteries of the kingdom of God. Meaning that he used the sciences, etymology, the philology, about the history, right? He used that to show you the full meaning of some of these allegorical stories. Y'all go back and watch the Star of Bethlehem Part 1. You saw it. So you saw the key go into the lock. You saw it turn the lock. You also saw it open. Because you got the full understanding. Okay? Ye have seen it. You have seen the key pass into the lock. Ye have seen it ride over all the intricacies and involutions of the ward. Right? That's the mechanism of the lock when you stick the key in. Right? It has to flip this and flip that. That's what he's talking about. Ye have heard it. You heard the mechanism click. Without any strain or effort, throw the bolt. So you stuck the key in the lock, you turned the key, you heard it, and then the lock opened. You didn't have to, break it or do anything, play around with it. It opened up freely. Okay, so it threw the bolt, opened the lock, and now the door is open. How did he open it? He opened it with the key of understanding that these stories in Judaism and Christianity are fairy tales. And they're remixes of the celestial bodies' energy and motions. That's the key. Okay? So now the door is open, and quote, "Behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy." Y'all got that? Y'all got that? Now you know that these stories are fake and that they're astronomical, or they are just simply telling you the zodiac. Listen what he says. "Behold, I bring you good things of great joy." In other words, you're out of religion and you're back into nature. Okay? When you get back into nature, now you can start doing what? Following the Most High's commandments. This puts you in line for the blessings. Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14, yes. It puts you in harmony. A follower, a doer, a keeper of the code, a follower of the Most High's commandments, if you shall choose to. So now you're in a position to get the blessings. "Behold, I bring you good things, good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people." Okay? Y'all read between the lines. Listen to what he's telling you. Think about this. The neophyte goes into the secret society believing in Christianity, believing in Judaism, believing in Islam, and then they go into the secret society, and then the secret society introduces them to etymology, linguistics, philology, everything we've been talking about, and shows them that the gospel proves it through the sciences I just mentioned, that the gospels are fairy tales, that the gospels are only telling you about the zodiac. Now, that person, that neophyte, these are glad tidings because you're no longer believing a lie. Y'all see it? You don't believe the lie anymore. You're not in the land of Oz, in La La Land anymore. Now you're in the inner house. And now you get to benefit from everybody on the outside who's a bondman and a bondwoman who is civilly dead in the eyes of the law. They are heathens, regardless of you being a Hebrew Israelite. That's right, I said it. You're a heathen. You're following religious doctrines, you are a heathen. Dr. Yasapa said it. I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. I'm telling you, regardless of what your religion is, you are a heathen if you are following any religion. You're a heathen. And I would highly recommend that you return to the Most High by following his instructions. And his instructions, in religion y'all call it the Ten Commandments, the essence of them is natural law. Don't harm anybody, including yourself. Okay, stated differently, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Okay, these are the glad tidings that you got off the good ship Jesus, and you return to the Most High. You return to nature. Okay, and you get your blessings. Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14. Okay, so these are the glad tidings. Read between the lines. All right, let's continue. Page 18. For unto you is born this day in the city of David. Y'all know the city of David, that's the celestial bodies, right? That's the heavens. For unto you this day, the day you got free, the day you realized that religion is a hoax and that natural law governs everything. And by the way, nationality, birthright, that's masculine mental energy. It is a natural law. Okay? The law of mental gender. Okay, y'all? Nationality is masculine mental energy. It is I. Who am I? I'm my mother's son. Well, who is your mother? Your mother is your mother's son with a womb. Okay? It's I be, I exist. It's the silent witness, the silent observer that exists, proven by science, that exists outside of the body. It is who you are. All right? And then the me is always becoming, it's always creating. That is mental energy, mental gender rather. Feminine energy is the me. Me is always becoming, right? Feminine energy is always creating, so always becoming, right? So this is the Holy Spirit, the self-conscious, right? The Father is the I am, I be, I exist, not subject to birth, not subject to death. Alpha and Omega, always was, always will be, eternal. The Father collaborates through his will with the feminine Holy Spirit to create. Okay? Watch the other videos I've done, probably the last 30 I've done. I talk about this concept. So there is your tetragrammaton. I am that I am. I am that I am, and I will be whatever my people need me to be to save them. I am, I exist, and I will become whatever I need to become to save myself. All right, so that is the remix that they call the Tetragrammaton, having its origin in natural law. Of course, it's also in the astronomical and also the etymological aspects of that too. But anyway, let's keep going. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord, and this shall be a sign. Well, who is Christ? Who is Christ? Let's look at the astrology or the astronomy. This line, this is the equinoxes. So the spring or vernal equinox and the fall or autumn equinox. Okay? Y'all see this is a cross, right? That takes the form of a cross. Okay? This is the summer solstice. This is the winter solstice. So at the summer solstice, the sun, the S-U-N sun, the disk in the sky, is at its highest point in the northern sky, meaning its declination is the highest from the celestial equator, right here around June 21, June 22. Okay, so this is the sun in this position is called the Christ. This is also called what? This is Leo, the zodiac sign Leo. Leo, the lion of the tribe of Judah. The winter solstice, the sun is at its lowest point in the southern sky, meaning the S-U-N sun is at its furthest distance from the celestial equator or declination. Okay, so this is Capricorn. So this is winter, December 21, 22. So it shall be a sign. I'm reviewing what we discussed in the Star of Bethlehem, part 1. Also, many times in all the other videos. But remember, the sun, when it is the Christ, it cannot go higher. It can only fall down. Okay, so it's falling toward fall season. Okay, so we get to Libra, the scales, All right. September 29, there's the opening of the gates of hell. What the heck is hell doing in the winter? It's cold, right? We discussed that. And then what happens? What happens? We get to November. Sagittarius, which is a sign that the wintry months is coming, or are coming. The wintry months are coming. Y'all got that? So JC, the Christ, is a sign. That's the religious remix. Astrologically, Sagittarius is a sign of what? That the wintry months are coming. Clear? December, January, and February. Okay, so let's continue. That is, I have shown, this Christ the Lord shall be one of the signs of the Zodiac. Okay, so in this case, it's Sagittarius. But scholars keep in mind that every Zodiac sign that the sun enters into, and it enters into each Zodiac sign at 30 degrees. It enters into the Zodiac sign, and then it takes on the characteristics and attributes fully of that Zodiac sign for each of the 12. Okay, so it leaves or exits that Zodiac sign at 33 degrees. Hence, Christ entered his ministry at 30 years of age. The sun entered into the Zodiac sign at 30 degrees. Y'all got it? Clear? And then Christ exits the Zodiac sign at 33 degrees, so that religiously in the gospel story, Christ dies, or his ministry ends at 33 years old. Clear? Okay, let's continue. Walk in, ye lovers of true science, ye friends of genuine and real learning, who would assist her in the arduous struggle in which she is engaged, and aid her rapidly approaching triumph over her barbarous foes. In other words, keep learning, and when you understand, teach somebody else. Teach somebody else, okay? But the more you learn, the more you will be able to overcome the grip, the bondage that religious doctrine has over your mind. The closer you will be to escaping La La Land, getting out of Oz, breaking free from religious super. Y'all realize how many people have lost their mind due to religion, especially the cults. And many of the Hebrew Israelite organizations are cults. Look up the definition of cults so you have a clear understanding of what a cult is, and not just what you feel or what you assume. Look up the meaning of a cult and the elements, okay, or the factors that you can, the identifying factors or elements that identify an organization as a cult, or a man or a woman as a cult leader or a cult member. Look it up. Okay, so these are the barbarous foes, okay, that you're going to get a mastery over, a victory over. The priests and the priest-ridden dunces who think they can keep doing this and nature will not overtake them, eventually it's going to catch up with them. But it's also the ignorant priest. For example, those priests who are in neighborhoods where the black people live. They don't know anything. Okay, so they would also be included in these dunces, who, with all their pretended zeal and attachment to the gospel, when brought to the test of rational criticism, the rational criticism would be scientific scrutiny, etymology, philology, etc., applying these sciences. Darrell-El writes, cult equals culture, something that grows in a petri dish. Given from a physician's point of view. Excellent, Darrell-El. I can relate to you. Hey y'all, if you are involved in these cults, then that means that you are a low life form in a petri dish. Okay, a bacteria is alive. Okay, fungus is alive, but it's a lower life form with a lower consciousness. This is what they reduced you to. Okay, this is what they have reduced you to. Okay, so let's continue. So get out. I lost my place. I'll just start back here. Walk in, ye lovers of true science, ye friends of genuine and real learning, who would assist her in the arduous struggle in which she is engaged. That's real learning, right? And aid her rapidly approaching triumph over her barbarous foes, religious doctrine. The priest and the priest-ridden dunces, your reverends, imams, generals, officers, captains, pastors, who else? What, all of the titles. Okay. Secret society members, Freemasonry, probably most importantly, the dark priesthood, the brothers of Saturnalia, okay, etc., y'all, etc. Who, with all their pretended zeal and attachment to the gospel, when brought to the test of rational criticism like we're doing, stand convicted of knowing no more about the gospel than the gospel knows about them. Right? The gospel is dead. There's no way the gospel is going to know who they are. They also don't know the gospel. Well, what's the gospel? The gospel is, in fact, what it says, or what we know it is to be. It is the original work of the Coptic Egyptian scientists and engineers, astrologers, cosmologists, and astrologers who wrote what they call a gospel to record, to memorialize the ancient knowledge of the Zodiac, cosmology, astrology, etc. To memorialize it, to hide it. Well, why would you need to hide it? Because the Catholics, the religious people, who were Moors, your dark priesthood, your brothers of Saturnalia, punishers. Of course, they were misapplying the concept of punishers. But punishers indeed still. Darrell-El writes, those in the petri dish that bring down your frequency of intel, indeed, intelligence. Excellent point. Computer chip. Excellent point. So let those who have ears to hear what the Spirit is saying to the congregation. If you've got eyes to see what the Spirit is revealing to the congregation. And by spirit, I'm not talking about religious spirit or spiritism. I'm talking about spirit hermetically, the essence of life or intelligence or awareness. Okay, hear what the Spirit, hear what the natural law is saying to you. They have, they meaning the priests, they have fed on the husks and shells of knowledge. So what is that? The husks and shells of knowledge, that is none other than these religious fantasies, fairy tales. Here we have the kernel. What's the kernel? The kernel is astrology and the laws that govern Astrology, which are the Hermetic laws. Okay? Darrell-El writes IQ. Yes, indeed. Everyone's following what's happening here on page 18 in the first paragraph? Okay, let's continue. Page 18, next paragraph. But why say they, make we such a parade of our learning? In other words, parade means you showing off. You're seeking attention. But why say they, that is, these religious leaders? Why are you showing off? Why are you showing this knowledge publicly? If you're going to do that, go in the back room. Don't do it publicly because you're messing up our game. You're making us look bad. Why are you going to do it publicly? Hear what I'm saying, y'all. Hear what I'm saying. But why they say, make we such a parade of our learning? Y'all think about what's happening amongst the Moors. Think about what's happening amongst the Moors. About someone who was kidnapped and in prison. Kidnapped and in prison for a ransom, for money, right, y'all? Commerce, for money. Well, not money, but for energy and fiat. And then you have some Moors who are saying, why are you doing all of that publicly? Why are you making a parade out of it? And I'm not going to go into detail about it, but it's something to think about. Okay? Why this apparatus of philology, criticism, and science? Now, what can we, based upon what I just said, what can we replace philology, criticism, and science with what's happening with the Moors right now? Those of you who are familiar with what I'm talking about, you should know. Why this apparatus of philology, criticism? What kind of criticism? Textual criticism. And science set before minds so little able to appreciate it. In other words, why are you talking about philology and criticism and science to these little Moors? More than half of them didn't even graduate from high school. And high school is already a watered down education. Why are you wasting all of this on these ignorant black people? Y'all hear me? Let alone they're in religion, in La La Land, and in the land of Oz. Why this apparatus of philosophy, criticism, and science set before minds so little able to appreciate it? They don't know anything about philology. They don't know anything about textual criticism. And they dang sure don't know anything about science. Why waste your time on that? Why give them that? So incompetent to judge. Right? And what he's saying is true. Most of our people are incompetent. They have very low reading comprehension skills. Darrell-El writes, Matrix movie said to free your mind of mental constraints. Absolutely. Y'all remember the video I did a couple videos ago about how when you're born, you have a clean slate, your self-image has no blemishes. But then when you go through the trauma and tragedies of life on the earth plane, you get a blemished self-image. The whole goal in life becomes to return to an unblemished self-image state. In other words, man, know thyself. Be yourself. There's a lot said in what I just said. If you don't know, keep watching the videos. Watch all the videos that I've done in the past. All right? But the Hermetic laws are in that, especially the Hermetic law of mental gender and how you are being and thinking someone that you're not. That's right. You're being mentally controlled, even though you don't know it and it feels like it's you. This is what I just said to you. All right? So let's continue. As we must suppose the minds of the many to be. Okay, so the masses are ignorant. They don't understand science. This is true. And do y'all realize that this is why they took our language? They took our history. They took our heritage. Do y'all realize? And I'm talking about Deuteronomy 28, verse 15 through 68. Why did they do that? Well, it's a function that they're using natural law against us. Because that would take away our masculine, mental, energy, strength. It would weaken it. And then they would replace it with theirs. In other words, they would lay a thought egg or thought seed in our mind, which is masculine mental energy, and it would collaborate with our feminine mental energy, and we would produce behavior and thinking that's not us, but who they want us to be. I went through this in many other videos, okay, but this is happening all according to the Hermetic laws. All right? So let's continue. This is why they did it. And why? If we really wish to communicate knowledge and truth to the people, why not follow the example of the preachers of the gospel and speak in such language as is familiar with them, and so give them reading made easy? Y'all hear that? Why not? So in other words, if you want to teach the people about nature, natural law, astronomy, cosmology, etc., give it to them easy. Give it to them in connotative linguistics. Talk about it in the context of Jesus, okay, and Judaism, because they understand that and it's easy. And lectures adopted to the meanest capacity. So the author is saying here, why are you telling the people stuff and it hurts them? It's mean to tell the people that Jesus never lived. He never walked the earth or breathed even one breath of air. That's mean. You're hurting people. You're hurting people feeling. Why do that? So here's the author's answer, y'all, page 18. My answer is, would men be faithful to their own capacities? There would be no mean capacities to be dealt with. In other words, if you're true to yourself, if you can acknowledge the science, meaning that you are acknowledging your own intellectual faculties, you're not lying to yourself, it wouldn't be mean. It wouldn't hurt you because it is what it is. What's hurting you is your belief, the cognitive dissonance, okay? Which has control over you, not your intellect. That's why you feel hurt. It is only they who are afraid of hearing what they never heard before, cognitive dissonance, whose capacities are mean indeed. I have found it quite as easy as I am sure it is more just and generous to raise the understandings of my hearers to the level of my own. In other words, the author is saying, I'm going to speak to you using denotative linguistics. I'm going to tell you the etymology. I'm going to introduce you to the grammar rules. I'm going to tell you the truth like I'm talking to someone on my level. Because that is just. And it's also generous. I'm giving. Why? Because I'm educating you. I'm raising you up. I'm not going down to your level like you're some kind of child, or less than a man or a woman, or like you have some type of learning incapacity. No. To raise the understanding of my hearers to my own. And if I find them ignorant, at least I won't leave them ignorant. We are all of us ignorant before we learn. Yeah, we all believe those myths and fairy tales. I learned it before you, that's all. Some of y'all out there learned it before me. But we were all of us ignorant before we learned that the Most High's commandments are natural law. We're all ignorant of that. And those who are forever coming down to our level while we are down show us but too plainly that it is the aim of their charity to keep us down. Y'all got that? So, if someone is talking to you at your level, well, their goal, according to the author, and I agree, the reason why they come down to your level to talk to you in this religious conversation, talk to you using connotative linguistics, well, because they're not doing you a favor, although it feels and it looks like they're doing you a favor. No. They are doing that to keep you down. Because if they talk to you like you are on their level and they educate you, see, if you don't know, they can teach you or they can guide you. That raises you up. But to give you charity, talking to you at your level, keeps you where you're at, ignorant, against the Most High, out of harmony with nature, low vibrational, lower self-behavior, doomed. That's right, I said doomed. Both civilly and in nature. Why are you doomed? Because everybody who is out of harmony with nature will pay an extreme price. Nature will make you pay. All right? When you are out of harmony with nature, meaning that you have no nationality, you're a stateless person in North America, and this is anywhere. You have no constitutional or treaty protections. You're Goyim. The blacks are Goyim. The Negroes, the African Americans, the Indians, all Goyim. You have no standing in law. Y'all hear me? You are civilly dead. Civiliter Mortuus. You're on the boat, on the ship, good ship Jesus. Right? You are property. You lost at sea. This is Admiralty, Maritime, Catholic, or Christian, canon, policy, jurisdiction. Okay, so Darrell-El writes, I recommend reading Psychology for Dummies to help break down some of these thought processes. Okay, y'all. So y'all hear it? Darrell-El recommends reading Psychology for Dummies, if y'all want more on that. Okay, but this is real stuff, y'all. See, the magic is not magic like you see on TV. The magic is controlling what you perceive and creating a paradigm, a worldview that's not real and cause you to perceive things that makes that paradigm real. Using what? The Hermetic laws. Okay? The transmutation and neutralization, these can be done using the Hermetic laws and certain psychological therapies. For example, the Silva method. It can be used for good and bad. Meditation can be used for good and bad. Visualization. There are many therapies that are out here that can help you transmute. In other words, overcome bad habits, emotional trauma, certain ways of thinking. Darrell-El writes, magic tricks work because the eye's perception is fooled. Absolutely right. Okay, y'all, so this is what they're using against us. Mind control. Farrakhan himself, as I said last time, told you that you're out of your mind and you've been flipped upside down, round and about. People thought he was just being funny, but he told the truth. Okay, y'all? So let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Okay, I lost where I was at. And why, if I really wish to, okay, I read all of that. So, okay, let me start here. We are all of us ignorant before we learn. And those who are forever coming down to our level while we are down, you better watch them. Those of us who are coming down to our level, talking to us in religious terms, using connotative linguistics, show but too plainly that it is the aim of their charity to keep us down. See how crafty they are? Acting like they're your friends and trying to help you. And offering instruction to my fellow men, I would treat them as my fellows. The author is saying when offering instruction to you, he's going to treat you like you're his equal at the same level. Okay? And must therefore plainly tell you that it is not for me to ascend, to go down to your level. That's not what I should do. That's wrong. That's not just. That's injustice. And it's stingy. It's selfish. Okay? It's not for me to descend to your level. Okay? But it is for you or for me to help you rise up to the level that I'm on. And it's not because I'm being humble, but it's because of your ambition to learn. Your ambition, your motivation to get the blessings. Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14. You should be motivated by the blessings that are offered you. The extreme wealth, the lavish, luxurious lifestyle. Your status, your nobility. Y'all read Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14. That should be your motivation. And that is righteous. Darrell-El writes, JWs are good at being friendly. My brother just got nabbed by that code. I feel sorry for him because that's the one I came out of. That's a terrible cult place to be. They get a real deep grip on your mind. It took me 30 plus years to get out of that. I'm talking about psychologically out. Okay, so let me read this straight through like the author wrote it. Okay? In offering instruction to my fellow men, I would treat them as my fellows and must, therefore, plainly tell them that It is not for me to descend to go down to your level, is what he means. But it is for them to rise. It's not for me to descend to go down to your level and talk to you at your level. But it is to you to rise up to my level. Or to the author's level. Get rid of the connotative linguistics. Stop quoting scripture. Unless you are talking scripture with its meaning in nature. Okay? Talking about its natural, hermetic, or astrological meaning. Its true meaning. Not the religious story. Not the religious doctrine. Okay? It's up to you to rise up. Okay? The level between us, you and I, is to be found. So those of you who are in religion, I'm not. Maybe the level is like this. Okay? It's up to you to rise up to where I'm at. Not for me to come down to where you are. Okay? Why? Because one, that's stingy. And it's not just. Justice would be to raise you up. Why? Because you have the capacity to do it. You've just been kept in an ignorant state. So if I come down here, I'm keeping you ignorant. But if I teach you, guide you, instruct you, and you, through your own ambition, your own motivation to get the blessings, to get the tangible wealth and nobility that's rightfully yours as an heir, as a rightful heir, it's up to you to value that and want to come up as I teach and I guide you. This is what the author is saying, okay? Now let's continue. So this is, what are we talking about? This is estate or trust law, estate law. Y'all see it? This is also the equinoxes. Spring equinox, fall equinox. 12 hours of day, 12 hours of night. Okay? Equality, equity, fairness, justice. Okay? That's where that's coming from in nature. That's what we're talking about. All right. The level between us is to be found not by my humility, but by your ambition. What ambition? To recover, reclaim your birthright. Deuteronomy chapter 28, 1 through 14. Your wealth, your estate. I will not make myself a dunce. I'm not going to make myself stupid by bending down to your level. But I will make them scholars. Okay? The author is saying, I'm not going to bend down to your level, make myself stupid, but I will raise you up, help you raise up, and make you a scholar. I will help you return to your nationality, to recover the blessings, to get your noble status back. I'll help you do it. But the way to do that is through educating you. Not by doing what the preachers tell you in the church. Go do this prayer. Right? Go pray like this. Go do that. Whatever your doctrine is. Repeating these same scriptures over and over and over again. But it is as, quote unquote. And if I rob them of their faith, I get this all the time. I get this one all the time. The author is saying, be it asked. The people are asking him. And if I rob them of their faith, okay, I teach you this, I show you this, and now you don't believe in your deity anymore. And if I rob them of their faith, which capital G-O-D, which God, which Zeus, which Odin, which Jupiter forgave me for being devilish-like to do. So the author is admitting that if you listen to his evidence, if you got a normal intelligence, you will no longer believe these stories. What will I give them instead? So, When you see that these religions are fairy tales, that your deities that you've been given your fiat and energy to, when you come to see that they're not real, well, what's the author going to give you to replace what he took away from you, as these people are saying? Well, here's his answer. The author writes, I answer, I will give them, or I will give you, learning in its stead. I will give you learning. I will set before you the treasure of science and knowledge, to no worse effect than to create in you an appetite for extended information, an appetite for extended knowledge. Knowledge of what? Knowledge of self. Who am I? Well, according to the scripture, all of you are gods, sons of the Most High. JC said it himself, whose cravings shall never more be satisfied with the baby lessons that you're getting in religion, nor content with eternal repetitions of what they knew before. Y'all read the same scriptures every Sunday in church, right? You go through the same Bible stories. Every other week, you repeat the same cycle of stuff. You're not learning anything new, okay? Now, some of y'all who just got involved into your religion, like your brother who got involved with JW, or someone who might be getting involved with the Hebrew Israelites, or any religion, give it a couple months, couple years, and it all becomes routine. It's the same stuff over and over and over again. Okay? This is what the author is telling you. Darrell-El writes, horizon, our rise sun. Yes, zone of the horizon. Matthew Wiz Cool writes, okay, so let me say this, okay? For those of y'all who want to be trolls in the comment section, I will block you. No problem with doing that, because you don't add any value to the discussion anyway. All right? So now let's continue. Let's continue. I will set before them the treasures of science and knowledge, to no worse effect than to create in them an appetite for extended information. What kind of information? Well, you should start off with knowledge about who you are, right? Knowledge of self. That's what Noble Drew Ali meant when he said, study yourself. And when you think you're done, study yourself some more. And who are you? Who are you? Well, of course, you're sprung from the soil. Man is sprung from the soil. Man means manifest, or man is a contraction, a contracted form of manifest. Man is thought made manifest. Therefore, hermetically speaking, man is law. Therefore, man is all law. Thought is what? The first of the hermetic laws, which is mentalism. Therefore, man is law. All of the other laws have their origin in the first law, which is mentalism. There are 7 laws. Therefore, man with a womb, and man who doesn't have a womb. Therefore, man, or manifest, is all law. Okay, y'all? All law, or Allah. Did y'all get that? There are 7 laws. The first is mentalism. The 6 others come from or are derived, they have their origin in mentalism. Therefore, man is manifest. Thought is all law. Therefore, man is all law. Even though in his fleshly or soul form, the physical functionality is limited by our fleshly design. But the mind, the masculine mental energy exists outside of the flesh. And once you come to understand that you are not this fleshly body, you are not your likes, you're not your hopes, you're not your dreams, you're not your disappointments, your triumphs, your moods, your feelings, you're none of that. These are just manifestations that are constantly changing. You are that masculine mental energy. You're all intelligence, all awareness, all consciousness. You're all law. That's why Moors, Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, sprung from the ground. That's why land, that's why Moors is the substance and subject matter of the law. Y'all hear that, justices? Hear what the Spirit is saying to the congregation. If you got ears to hear and eyes to see, Darrell-El writes, you are a thought being, absolutely. Absolutely. If y'all don't believe that, take a look around you. Everything and every condition around you is because of your own thought. Now, were you ascended into a bloodline? Let's say, connotatively speaking, a family, and much of the damage that has been done to you and your self-image happened as a result of that family and the neighborhood or community and the institutions? Absolutely. Absolutely. Were you a child before it happened? Absolutely. Absolutely. And then you started to mature. Now you're locked into a self-image. And it's up to you to discover and to overcome, to discover who you are as you overcome those foes that Noble Drew Ali talked about. Y'all hear me? Okay, let's continue. Where am I? Oh, okay, so knowledge of self. Okay, so in this craving for knowledge of self, now you're all law. Or Allah, which is also arm, leg, arm. And then head. Okay? You're all law. That means you're what? Also, the celestial bodies. All of these things have consciousness. Listen, okay, listen. Make the connections, rather. Okay? So let's continue. Whose cravings shall never be more satisfied with the baby's lessons. That means you won't be satisfied with religious doctrine after you get this education. Nor content with eternal repetitions, Hail Mary, Mother of Grace, and all of that stuff of what they knew before. But shall, and also the song. Y'all know the song that the Hebrew Israelites sing, Hero Israel. Well, y'all know all the popular stuff. These repetitive things won't satisfy you anymore, okay? But you will demand continual supplies of what they did not know or what you didn't know before. Such supplies as shall increase the store of intellectual wealth, improve their minds, enlarge their hearts, and free them from the yoke of the priestcraft. Let this announcement go away. One second. One moment, y'all. Oh boy, let me keep going. This is very long. All right. Ah, boy. Okay. So the knowledge, the key, the knowledge that the stories in Judaism and Christianity, these are fairy tales, mythological stories that are remixes of astrological phenomena, and then knowledge of self. That's nationality. Nationality is masculine mental energy. So these three things will free you from the priestcraft. In other words, this information will take you out of the civilly dead status and the grip that religion has on your mind, the religious bondage, the fear, the superstition, and it will allow you, as I said earlier, to keep the Most High's commandments, and to you at the level of one man and one woman to take possession of the blessings or the material wealth. In other words, reversion of estate. Get your land back. Get your noble titles back. Get your mind back. Your heritage back. Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14. Darrell-El writes, no one should be impressed with those who can recite scriptures like a parrot, but cannot live what they sprout. Absolutely. Absolutely. But our people are impressed with that because of our conditioning, right? We get impressed by the sound of words, how things sound, and drama, because the low level that they have put us at through their educational system and through media. All of these are masculine mental energy attacks. These are psychic attacks. Y'all hear me? These are psychic attacks of a masculine mental energy nature, intended to collaborate with our feminine energy to create a cause and effect. The cause is going to be whatever situation they hit you with. Y'all hear me? They create images, stories, narratives in the mind through their masculine mental energy, coming to you in the form of books at all levels of education. They're lying. They're lying from preschool, from TV before you start school, all the way up to the PhD level and beyond. They're absolutely lying. They're deceivers. But what are they doing? They're lying to create a paradigm, masculine mental energy, so that when they hit you with situations, it makes your mind, or gives your mind evidence that it's true. All right, so that's a cause and effect relationship. Okay? Or get you involved in alcohol abuse, drug abuse, any other vices, right? Give you causes and effects, right? A state of mind or condition that is very difficult to overcome. So they're using nature against you. Okay? So with these things, knowledge of self, nationality, knowledge that the Gospels, the religions, let me just say that, Christianity and Judaism are fairy tales. and that those stories are a remix of astrological phenomena. Those three things make up a key, a master key, that will release you from the yoke of the priestcraft. Release you from the yoke of the priestcraft. And the way out of a situation, the fastest way out is the same way you got in, right? So that's opposites, right? That's the law of polarity, right? So there's nothing brilliant about what they did to us. They just applied the law of opposites, or polarization, law of polarity. They just did the opposite, right? And they pushed it. Okay? So now listen. As now, sirs, ye shall see use of much learning. Okay? He's going to demonstrate all of this learning that he's been talking about. It's up to you to make a decision of whether or not he sufficiently proves his case. If he proves his case, all of this stuff is on the public record. You can give him full faith and credit, or you can deny it. That's your choice, and only your choice. Darrell-El writes, it is strange how all these vices rewire the mind, and a large amount of time causes sexual conversion. Absolutely. Professor Neely Fuller said that, didn't he? But y'all know they put another cause. I don't remember the name of the molecule, but the Monsantos of the world, I don't remember the universities or the companies, all of them. I believe it was Monsantos, but y'all go check it. Also, I believe the U.S. corporation was involved, but y'all go check it to make sure, because I'm not sure. But they created a molecule that changes gender. Yeah, it changes gender. Frogs, male frogs were becoming female, and homosexual, etc. And I've seen reports that they put this in the food supply or the water supply, which would explain all of, Darrell-El writes, yes, Monsanto pesticides. Yes. And they knew about it. I watched a professor who was involved in that. He said that they knew about it because he told them, if I understood him correctly. And they canned him, Dr. Tyrone Hayes. Yeah. So y'all see what they're doing to you. How can you trust these people, especially if they're talking about science? You better run the other way. Y'all see what happened with the people who took the jab? If they do it again, and you know, I suspect that they are, because they had so much success. Why wouldn't they? Y'all remember Biden? President Biden said that by 2040, the U.S. would be European, quote-unquote, white minority. That's his words, not mine. Would be minority. In other words, according to him, the blacks and the Hispanics would be the majority. Y'all think they're not going to, or they haven't already, or that the so-called pandemic was not an effort to reduce the population? Darrell-El writes, yes, they said up north, they are preparing for another shutdown. See y'all? Genocide. Kill you all. All right? Why? Because they want to they want to be the majority population. Even though, in my opinion, we're the majority anyway, and always have been. In terms of population in North America, they were just lying. But maybe the population growth has exploded, and they're scared to death because everything that they have done, you know, they cannot kill off the people fast enough. All right? So let's continue. Let's continue. As now, sirs, ye shall see the use of much learning in the learned languages. Okay, now he's talking about linguistics, y'all, and etymology and grammar. As shall not cost you the expense of a classical education. Let me tell y'all something. An education not only is expensive, but it's time consuming, and it takes a lot of effort and energy. It is not easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. But the author is saying he's going to give you a classical education, the benefits of a classical education, without you having to pay anything. You only need to invest a couple hours a day reading or watching this video. You never have to travel, get in your car, go anywhere in the snow, rain, sleet, snow, or heat. You're getting it all in the comfort of your own home. You suffered nothing. You paid nothing. Okay? So he writes. He writes, he's going to give you this education in the learned languages, as shall not cost you the expense of a classical education. You never even had to study to take an exam to get in a university or pass a single class, nor the labor of your whole life to obtain. Y'all know how many years it takes, let's say, to become a medical doctor, total? How many years out of your life? Or let's say, or even, let's say a lawyer or PhD, or get your master's degree in anything? Y'all know how much time, effort, and energy that costs? That's not even considering the personalities that you have to deal with and the people who are in authoritative positions who want to hold. Darrell-El writes 16 years, absolutely. The people who want to hold you down or sabotage you, or the people who want to make you do all their work, they don't want you to graduate, because then who's going to do their work? Right? They're used to you. They already trained you, taught you everything, and you do a good job. They don't want somebody else coming in, so they want to hold you. Or maybe it's your father who want to hold you down. Maybe it's your mother who wants to hold you down. Envious and jealous, you know, the very narcissistic type who want to destroy you. Y'all never had to do any of that. Go through any of these emotional, traumatic events. You're getting it for free. This is what the author is telling you. Okay? So in other words, here's what he's saying. You never had to work for it. You never had to spend a lifetime to get it. Let's say 16 years. Okay? Let's see, K through 12 is kindergarten through 12. That's high school graduation, right? You got 4 years of college. That's 16 years to get your bachelor's degree. You're already up to 16 years. That's just for your bachelor's degree. Now, medical school is 4 years in North America. So now you're up to 20 years. 20 years. Plus whatever other training, what have you might want to do. Let's say you throw a master's degree on top of that. That takes you to 22 years. Let's say you want to do another master's, or you want to get a certification or something like that. That's going to be 1 more year. 23 years. So I'm rocking at 23 years of formal education. How about y'all? You think it was easy? You think it was easy? You think somebody just gave it to me and said, here? I tell you, this is on topic. Let me tell you this. Let me tell y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all two stories. Maybe two, maybe, definitely one. I did my physiology course, all right? It was a hybrid. He did his training in the U.S. I never had a problem with any professor when I studied overseas. I got like 90, maybe 96, I don't remember. Mid-90s, it was a long time ago. Mid-90s on my exam. This guy accuses me of cheating. No evidence, but his evidence was nobody can score that high on his exam. Took me before the dean. Yeah, took me before the dean, but you know what his problem was? This is what his problem was. He didn't like the beautiful complexion of my beautiful physical body. Right? That's what he didn't like. And so, of course, the dean tried to find a way to not piss off the professor, because who wants to hire another professor, go through that whole process, right? It's expensive, time consuming, and you might get somebody who's hard to work with. So in the end, so the dean is laughing, right? So in the end, this guy wanted me to take the exam over. But in the end, we worked it out, okay? And everything was good. And so that's one experience. So can you imagine what that feels like? Right? You're in a weak position as a student. Yeah, you're bringing money into the school, but it's a bunch of people who want to get in. A bunch of people want to take your seat. Right? Now another situation. In the hospitals. Right? Where I had other physicians take lab tests out of patient files, out of their charts. So I wouldn't know that they had infectious diseases. See the dirty stuff people do? Take it out. Like when they know you're about to go, somebody who hates you, you don't know they hate you, jealous of you, right? Either take it out or don't put it in because they know you're going to go do your rounds. And the way you interact with the person, let's say, who has hepatitis C, the way you interact with a person who has a highly contagious infectious disease is different from the way you would act or interact with someone else, but not me, because I treat everybody as though they potentially have a highly infectious disease. But I eventually found out what they were doing. Okay? So when people hate you, right, because in their mind, you shouldn't be there, for whatever reason, if they have opportunity, a lot of these people will do things to sabotage you and even try to get you exterminated or terminated from the job or from life on this plane. Now this is real. I ain't make this stuff up. I could tell you a million stories about things, experiences that I've had. People close to me that I would expect, or that you have a right to expect honesty, some degree of loyalty, at least not sabotaging me, right? But this game of learning, and I call it a game because, in my opinion, you shouldn't take it too seriously. Otherwise, you might have some emotional breakdowns. Okay, but this is no joke, y'all. It is no joke. Okay? It is no joke. Let's continue. All right. But as by your few hours of diligent attention to these lectures. Okay, so he's long gone. He's been dead for a long time. But his works are published. They're in the public arena. Even with your pleasure and entertainment. Okay? So a lot of this stuff, he's very sarcastic. Me, I don't like sarcasm so much. Some people like sarcasm. I don't like it so much. But his work is funny. A lot of it is funny, make you laugh. You know, if this is your first time hearing this stuff, it might make you cry and laugh at the same time. Not just the story and its meaning, but how stupid you were, how you've been played and fooled, bamboozled. Y'all hear me? But just give it, if I do a 2-hour video, watch the 2-hour video. If it's 3 hours, watch the 3-hour video. Study it. Some of y'all might say, but it's long and it's boring. But you didn't get out of bed to go to class. You didn't spend the money on the fuel or the train or bus transportation or motorbike transportation. You didn't pay any tuition. You didn't buy any books. It's a free download. You put zero effort into getting this education. Nobody tried to sabotage you. Nobody gave you a grade, and it should have been higher. Nobody gave you, you did nothing. So keep that in mind. Listen to the 1-hour video or 3-hour video and be grateful that you're getting a free education, not because I'm giving it, but because of the benefit that you get from it. Okay, y'all? Or just read the book yourself, if you can comprehend it. Most of our people cannot comprehend literature written this old style literature. It's very difficult. It's a very difficult read. But anyway, let's continue. All right? But as by your few hours of diligent attention to these lectures, just take you a few hours every day or every other day. That's all you got to do. Invest just a couple hours. Okay? Okay, even with your pleasure and entertainment, you'll like it. It'll be interesting to you. You shall find yourself to have acquired. If you invest just a couple hours every day, you're going to acquire this knowledge. Let's continue. Till there shall not be an individual of competent faculties, just a person who has average learning, okay? Average learning. Even if you have a learning disability, if you stick with it, you can learn this stuff, okay? Till there shall not be an individual of competent faculties that had been fairly applied to these studies. You got average learning, or even if you got a mental disability, if you keep trying, you will learn, you'll get it. But who shall be a better scholar than any clergy or preacher of the gospel? Okay? So you just stick with it, you'll be a better scholar than these religious leaders. You'll be a better scholar on this topic than these religious leaders, okay? If he be dunce enough to believe the gospel himself, could possibly be. He's talking about if the religious leader believes that the gospel is real history. So now, sirs, how we advance. In other words, this is how we're going to move forward. We're going to move forward using science and not religious doctrine. As would not a man who had but the reason and proper spirit of a man, that's your motivation to learn, put to himself the question, If these so-called sacred writings of the Old Testament and the New Testaments were written as indeed they purport to be, and most certainly were, quote unquote, in ages long ago, betide. Now, note what he's going to say here. Pay special attention to what he's going to say here. If the so-called sacred writings that we call the Old Testament and the New Testament are actually, in fact, ancient, and if their meanings were lost, if their meanings were lost. Okay, Stephen Estrada writes astrazine in the water. So y'all know that this stuff is not by mistake, right, y'all? It's clearly evident what they're doing. Fluoride too. Clearly evident what they're doing. But it's the bondman and the bondwoman, the religious leader, following, is it Paul's advice? Submit yourselves to the political authorities. In other words, whatever they say you need to do, because they're put in place by God. Y'all hear that? That brings to my mind, I just thought about this for the first time. You know that book, that verse in, is it Psalms or Proverbs, y'all? Do not lean upon your own understanding. Y'all know that? Well, Paul is saying the same thing, in my opinion, right now. That you need to listen to what these government authorities say, although they are foreigners. But that's not what the house of Yasharallah did in the book of the law, did they? They did not listen to foreigners. Y'all got it? Because they are foreigners. Let's continue. Okay, so going back to the Old and the New Testament, y'all know the story. They say that the Old Testament was found, and then their scholars figured out what these ancient writings mean. This is what the author is talking about right now. Do y'all believe that? Listen to this. Tell me if you believe it. Listen. If these so-called sacred writings of the Old and New Testaments were written, as indeed they purport to be, and most certainly were, quote unquote, in ages long ago betide, written thousands of years ago, in conformity to the notions of men who long ago ceased to exist. Listen, y'all. And in languages which have long ceased to be spoken. Y'all hear that? These documents were written thousands of years ago, and there's no record of what these documents actually mean. That's what the author is saying. Do you believe it? Well, let me say this. Y'all know about, have y'all heard about about Sanskrit and other ancient languages in the East? Why is it that those languages, the meanings of those languages have been preserved? Nobody ever argues about the meanings of those languages. They're not lost. Now, why is that? Use your mind. Listen. Or that a sense of them, according to the sense or nonsense of modern notions, could possibly come even within a guess at their original significance. In other words, if these books were written, these sacred writings were written thousands of years ago, all of the people have long since died, and there is no record of what these sacred writings mean. How is it then that modern day scholars can tell you what these documents mean? The author here is saying that it's impossible. You'd have to be an idiot to believe it, because there's no record of what they mean, right? Now compare that to, as I mentioned earlier, what about ancient language like Sanskrit? That hasn't been lost. Has not been lost. Those ancient writings, everybody knows what they mean. So how do we reconcile this? I give you my opinion. Excuse me. Sorry, y'all. It's a lot of traffic and pollution in this area. It irritates my throat. It's a busy main street out here, and the doors are opening. People constantly coming in and leaving. So what am I saying? It's simply this. This stuff is not ancient. They lied about the chronology. The documents haven't ceased to exist. They just redated everything. They created all of these religions and redated them. They made up a fake chronology. Okay, that's all. Okay, these records exist. Their meanings exist. Period. Period. It exists. They just made up the dates. And they told people that it's ancient. Why? Because they needed to create a history for a historical Jesus Christ and for the Roman Catholic Church. Y'all hear what I'm saying? That's all it is. It's just deception. Okay? So let's stop here. Let's stop here. We're gonna start at number 1 on page 19 when we do the next video. Hopefully tomorrow we'll do the next video, y'all. Okay? We'll start right here. We'll start right here at the bottom. Okay? I gotta run. Thanks everyone for your support. Those of you who have subscribed to the one-on-one Ancient Ibaryath class, I appreciate your support. It's one of the best things that you could do for yourself. Everybody's invited to come check out every Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 506 The Curses course, where we get into the etymology and everything we're talking about now, the science that we've been talking about, we deal with this at a very high level in the 506 The Curses course, okay? That's Deuteronomy 28, the curses, okay? So we're dealing with that. Everybody's invited. You can come for a couple classes for free if you like it. You can come for a couple classes until you decide whether or not it's for you, okay? But technically, or the official number of classes is 2, okay? So I'm not going to let anybody ride me, all right? So if you've been coming and you know it's where you want to be, you need to pay the tuition, or you have to stop coming. Also, those of you who have bought my Ancient Ibaryath books, thank you for your support. And those of y'all who are planning to buy it, I just want to say thanks in advance. And you're on the right road. Okay, you're on the right road. Islam to all the Moors. Oh, by the way, before I go, thanks for everyone who has supported my project to write the Book of the Law in Ancient Ibaryath and Modern English. Okay, to put the natural law constitutional principles, the Hermetic law, and the Zodiac back in, and to remove all of the deceit, all of the religiosity, to remove all of that, all of the Jeremiah 8:8 occurrences. All right, so I'll see y'all in about 12 to 24 hours. Islam and Shalom.